This is Radio Nepal. I'm Kaushal Ghimire with the news, the headlines first. Prime Minister Shabadu Dewa stresses need for increasing investment for structural reform of the country's economy. Visiting chairman of National Congress of China, Li Jianxu, pays courtesy call on President Bidyadevi Bhandari, Chairman Li returning home today. Health Ministry says more than 11,000 dengue fever cases reported since mid-July. And Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin to meet today. Now the news in detail. Prime Minister Shabadu Dewa has stressed the need for increasing investment for the structural reform of the country's economy. Addressing the Sustainable Infrastructure Investment Forum 2022 organized by the Investment Board Nepal in Kathmandu yesterday, Prime Minister Dewa said Nepal required structural and economic reform to graduate itself to a middle-income developing country by the year 2026. On the occasion, Prime Minister Dewa called for utilizing limited resources for the sustainable development of the country.
We have an opportunity to focus on grain, on the implementation of sustainable development goal. This is where the sustainable investment on infrastructure become more critical. We must understand that the investment of infrastructure that does not generate employment, does not foster economic growth, and does not contribute to promoting resilience cannot build an inclusive and sustainable recovery. The math is very simple. Our limited resources should be used to transform and modernize infrastructure, promoting a greener job and a greener economy. We have incorporated this spirit, including through mainstreaming SDGs into our national plan, policies and programs.
That was Prime Minister Dewa addressing the forum. The Prime Minister also expressed the government's commitment to ensuring an environment conducive to investment in Nepal. Prime Minister Dewa pledged to provide all kinds of support to the investors, both domestic and foreign, for investment in the infrastructure sector. He also called for exploring more opportunities for investment through a public-private partnership. Prime Minister Dewa expressed his confidence that the government would be able to fulfill its commitment to reducing carbon emissions to zero in Nepal by the year 2045.
We have made national commitment to reach a scenario of net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2045. Estimate around $19 billion would be required to achieve SDGs. The pandemic and consequences of geopolitical crisis have further accentuated this need. We plan to graduate from the LDC category by 2026. Our LDC graduation will not be smooth, sustainable and irreversible without the structural transformation of our economy. This makes the investment on infrastructure from both domestic private sectors. Foreign investors is more important.
On the occasion, the Prime Minister unveiled a study report prepared by the board for the establishment of chemical fertilizer factory in the country. The chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress of China, Li Jianxu, paid a courtesy call on President Bidyadevi Bhandari yesterday. During the meeting held at President's residence at Shital Niwas yesterday, President Bhandari expressed happiness over the Chinese leader's visit to Nepal. Saying Nepal has always been a good neighbor and a true friend of China, the Chinese leader expressed his gratitude for the warm welcome and respect he received during his Nepal visit. President Bhandari and Chairman Li discussed multiple aspects of Nepal-China relations, including mutual interest, friendship and cooperation. Earlier yesterday, Chairman Li observed historic heritages and post-quake reconstruction projects at Bhaktapur Durbar Square. Chairman Li is returning home this morning after concluding his 4-day official visit to Nepal. CPN Maui Center Chairman Pushpakamal Dal Prachanda has appealed to all to conclude the bill designed to amend the Act on Commission of the Commission on Investigation of Disappeared Persons, Truth and Reconciliation, as per the spirit of the Comprehensive Peace Accord. Speaking at a meeting of the Law, Justice and Human Rights Committee of the House of Representatives yesterday, Chairman Dahal stressed the need for making efforts to address the matter through a consensus. He expressed his concern that the bill should not get political touch. Likewise, Deputy Leader of CPN-UML Parliamentary Party, Subhash Nemwang, said there had been collective support to conclude the bill as it was a common subject. The committee president, Krishna Bhakta Pokhrel, underscored the need for working on the remaining task of the bill through building consensus. The National Assembly has sent Insurance Bill and Public Debt Management Bill to the Legislative Management Committee for close-wise deliberation. Minister for Agriculture and Livestock Development, Mrigendra Kumar Singh Yadav, on behalf of Finance Minister Janardhan Sharma, had presented the proposal for deliberation, which was unanimously approved by yesterday's meeting. Similarly, Legislative Management Committee President Beduram Bhusal in yesterday's meeting presented the report of the Committee on the Animal and Livestock Service Council Bill. The Health Ministry has said dengue fever has turned endemic in 10 districts of the country. Speaking at a press conference at the ministry yesterday, Health Ministry's spokesperson Dr. Sanjay Kumar Thakur said Lalitpur, Kathmandu, Bhaktapur, Makwanpur, Dang, Rupandehi, Chitwan, Kabre-Palanchok, Thading and Terathum districts had witnessed a large number of dengue cases. These districts account for 84% of the total dengue cases seen in Nepal. The spokesperson said a total of 11,065 dengue cases had been reported across the country since mid-July this year. The Health Ministry has urged all to adopt precautionary measures to avoid the mosquito bite. Ruling Nepali Congress has decided not to allow the members of the House of Representatives and Province Assemblies elected through the proportional representation system on behalf of the party in the earlier elections to become the candidates under the same electoral system again. Clause 32, Subclause 2 of the Nepali Congress's statute has specified that the persons elected to the members of the House of Representatives and Province Assemblies under proportional representation system on behalf of the party would not be allowed to become candidates for the same system again. However, those elected under proportional representation system in earlier elections could be candidates in the first-past-the-post election to the members of the House of Representatives and Province Assembly. You're listening to Radio Nepal's 8 a.m. English News Bulletin. Time for a short break now.
भाउजू दर्शन
भाग्यमानी बाबु राम्ररी आइपुग्नु भयो नि
हजुर राम्ररी पुगे उ चाहिँ मेरो कलेजको बेस्ट फ्रेन्ड
नमस्ते भाउजू
नमस्ते आउनु न भित्रै
हुन्छ भाउजू
अनि दादा त अफिस गइसक्नु भयो होला है
उहाँ त बिहानै हो हुन्छ तपाईहरु फ्रेस हुँदै गर्नु न म खाना तयार गर्दै गर्छु है
हस् हस् भाउजू
ओइ वाइफाई होला नि पासवर्ड माग्न
हे त पनि एनटीसी को सस्तो डे प्याक छदैछ नि
ए हो र
एनटीसी को डे प्याक लिन *1415# डायल गर्न
नेपाल टेलिकम राष्ट्रको संचार.
You're listening to Radio Nepal's 8 a.m. English News Bulletin. Now on to some international updates. Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin will meet today and discuss the war in Ukraine and other international and regional topics. According to Russian authorities, the two will meet in Uzbekistan at a summit that will show an alternative to the Western world. Chinese President Xi is making his first trip overseas since the start of the pandemic. He is seeking a historic third term while Putin's relations with the West are at rock bottom over Ukraine. Xi made his first stop in Kazakhstan yesterday, where he landed in the capital Nur-Sultan for the first leg of his 3-day trip. European Union chief Ursula von der Leyen has called for cuts to electricity use across the bloc and windfall taxes on energy firms to tackle high prices. According to the BBC, the European Union chief told the European Parliament that gas and electricity prices had hit all-time high after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. She called for electricity consumption to be cut at peak hours by at least 5%. But plans for a cap on the price of natural gas, a key Russian export to the European Union, were put on hold. The European Union member states will deliberate over the proposals with hopes of an agreement by the end of this month. Now, the general weather forecast for the country for today, according to the Meteorological Forecasting Division. The weather will be partly to generally cloudy throughout the country. There are also chances of heavy rainfall at 1 or 2 places of Gandaki Province, Lumbini Province and Sudur Paschim Province, and light to moderate rain with thunder and lightning at Gandaki and Lumbini provinces and at a few other places of the country. With this, we have almost come to the end of this news bulletin, but before wrapping up, let's have a reminder of the headlines once again. Prime Minister Shabada Dewa stresses need for increasing investment for structural reform of the country's economy. Visiting Chairman of National Congress of China, Li Jianzi, pays courtesy call on President Vidyadevi Bhandari. Chairman Li returning home today. Health Ministry says more than 11,000 dengue fever cases reported since mid-July. And Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin to meet today. Well, that's all the news we have for this bulletin. Our next bulletin in English will be at 2 in the afternoon. You can also listen to us online at our website www.onlineradionepal.gov.np. Keep listening to Radio Nepal and have a good day.